Previously on Wreckers and Checkers.
Literally fell to pieces. Absolutely disgusting. Piece of shit.
Need a hand?
Snapped, rounded.
Pain in the butt.
30 horsepower.
Fair enough.
Too busy holding my golden wrench up, you know?
Alright guys, it is build day 2 and the gremlins have been unleashed.
Yeah, well, we're not like this team sending their motor out to factory mechanics to work on it. We're doing it in-house. We're trying to save those dollars. This is a game and we want to be the winners. So Nigel's gonna tear into that thing, get to it, and see what this bike has in store for us. But yeah, stay tuned.
That's it, we're off. I'm on a delivery driver run. We're getting the factory treatment today. The thing is gonna come back mint. So stick around, check out the episode, and there could be some goodies at the end.
Yeah, we'll see whose is better, the factory treatment or in-house at MXstore Garage. Anyhow, never miss an episode of Wreckers and Checkers by hitting that notification bell. Use that hashtag Wreckers2Checkers so we can follow along in your build. And hey, we'll see who comes on top.
That's it, let's get into it.
All right, so today we've got a bit of an easy day, don't we, Dill?
We sure do. We've got a bunch of parts getting sent away. We're sending the frame off to Gold Coast powder coating. We've got a bunch of parts getting sent off to vapor blasting as well at Pioneer Finishes. And we got the suspension going to Dan at MXRP.
Yeah, awesome, and the engine as well. So we'll send the engine up there too with a wrench rabbit kit and get the engine fully teared down, rebuilt, put back together again, hopefully find a few more ponies. We're aiming for 35.
35 at Lorraine 125.
Yep, that'd be awesome to see. But one last thing I have to do is get those wheels apart and get those hubs out so we can send them away.
Let's rip in.
Cool. Easy done.
Okay, got a massive day ahead of us. The bike's been torn down. Got to get the frame, hubs, other bits and pieces off to get vapor blasted. Going to get the suspension up to Charlie. He's going to look after us there and help us out. And namely, we've got to build the motor. Sticking to the format of the game, we're going to build it in-house, try to save some money. Fingers crossed there's no gremlins. It is a bit of a junker. So yeah, wish me luck.
Yeah, so the RM125 Mick Mac dropped off to us, basically gave us a task of going through the engine, making sure it's all going to be able to handle the job once it's all back together. So we basically got it in, tore the whole engine down, went through it. It's had a new crank, some new bearings, new gaskets, new seals. We've put it through the vapor blaster, tidied up all the cases. Basically, we've reassembled the engine, got it all together, got it looking $1 million so that the whole project's going to come together and look, you know, nice and clean in every area. So the engine, as I explained to Mick, if you want to do a little bit more work to get a little bit more out of it, you go down the road of doing some porting and obviously some carb modifications to get it, you know, going a little bit better or pulling a little bit harder. The suspension for the RM125, Mick Mac obviously brought it in again for us to go through, tear down, see what needed to be replaced, basically everything, as you can understand, like an older model bike like that. So we went through, replaced the bushings, the seals, the bump stop. While we had it here, we've run through and recoated the shock body to make it look kind of as close as we can to OEM, but also nice and neat and tidy at the same time. And we've recoated the shock spring OEM spec with the prismatic powders OEM color and basically revalved it, set it up, full service, clean up of everything to make sure that the suspension's going to obviously handle and do its job as best it can.
Okay, so if things weren't bad enough, when I pulled the right hand side cover, the clutch cover off the bike, we had some issues. The power valve actuator is broken. I'm like, oh, it's not looking crash hot. Bit of a bucket, but I'll carry on with this assembly. I did see on the inside of the clutch cover, you guys can see there's a bit of metal putty in there, which was repaired like a bit of a crack. I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. We might have to buy a clutch cover. Carry on with the disassembly. Just turn the motor around the other way and notice that the whole case has been metal puttied up. There's been a huge hole in the side of the cases. So this is an absolute sack. Gonna have to find Sleater and have a bit of a conversation. I'll still split the cases and work on doing a bottom end, but whether we find a second-hand case, buy a new case, who knows? All right, so pulled the crank out, split the cases, got the gears over here. These cases have been apart before. There was some sort of internal failure with the gear side of things. It looks like someone's come in with a die grinder and just botched it up and then patched it up on the outside of the cases. I don't think it's salvageable. I think we're gonna be looking for either a new case or a new motor and then building from there. The other notable thing, I guess, is how much heat has been transferred through. The bottom end is absolutely cactus anyway. That sort of shows by the main bearings and the staining on the cases itself. Now the other case has also had a bit of carnage, a lot of heat come through again. The main bearings are stuffed and you can see there has been previous damage. The case is all scuffed up and marked. The crank itself has got a heap of, you can see by the discoloration all around here. It's way too much heat gone through it. I can actually feel with my hand an up and down movement, which is a good indicator that the common bearings are done. So these have been apart before and they've been dodged up and ended up in our possession. Fantastic.
So we've been trying to decide what we're going to do for the theme of the bike. We've got a couple of ideas. I'm thinking along the lines of Travis Pastrana. Everyone loves Travis. I love Travis, so Travis Pastrana replica would be pretty cool. Dylan's got other ideas.
Yeah, I've always been a massive fan of Davey Millsap's back when he was on the RM125, the 188 machine. So his bike was super clean, had the gold wheels, looked super factory. So definitely a soft spot for Davey. But I mean, it would be great to pay tribute to an Australian. So we might go digging a little bit more and see what we can find. But
yeah.
I mean, these two have changed the sport and the industry. So these are definitely two people that we want to be looking for.
All right, so we've stripped the motor down, split it in half, determined that these cases are no good. Absolute cactus. The best thing these are good for is really the bin. So I pushed them aside. We've gone wild on Sleater's credit card and he's gone and got us some new cases. That combined with a bottom end kit that we have here, we'll be able to get the bike back together as quick as we can.
Little bit of a secret when installing the bearings, we get the cases really hot. That expands it and then leave the bearings, the mains in the freezer, get them really cold. It shrinks it up and then it's literally just dropping it in. It goes home, no tapping required. It's perfect. All right, so we paired up the fresh Yamaha cases with a Wiseco bottom end kit that we stock here at MXstore. I actually used a Hot Rods transmission bearing kit while there, saved pulling all the bearings out of the original cases and placing them in. The only things that we really reutilised were all the gears and shifting components. After inspection, they all checked out. So we popped them in, new crankshaft, new mains, everything like that, and it came together really well. Okay, so putting the cases together, I choose to tap them together using a rubber mallet. This ensures there's no binding when the components are sitting together. More of a peace of mind trick that I do myself. So once it's all tapped together and come home, then I'll screw it together using the bolts.
Okay, so we've come to a bit of a standstill with the bottom end. We're being held up by one bearing. However, we've got that in order. In the meantime, let's get cracking on the top end. We've got this GYTR YZ125 high performance kit. Let's put it together.
So as we know, time is of the essence with this YZ. I chose this kit because it has a cylinder in it. The old cylinder is damaged and sometimes that takes weeks for it to go away and get repaired. So when I was picking up the cases and I saw this kit on the shelf, sure, it's expensive, but it gets the problem solved. I'm already in a lot of debt, so what's a little bit more? This top end kit contains everything else we need to complete the build. All I needed to do was remove a few bits and pieces out of the original cylinder and put it into the new one.
Okay, so we're at the point where we want to put the cylinder over the top of the piston onto the top of the motor. Before we do that, I'll grab a little bit of two-stroke oil I've got in a cap here, and we'll put a light film all over the Nickersil coating. That'll just give us a little bit of extra protection on startup while the motor is being assembled. Alrighty, so motor is done. Complete new bottom end, complete new top end using the GYTR performance kit. Bottom end, new transmission bearings, new crank, new everything. This thing is gonna haul ass.
So, saving money.
Yeah. No.
No.
No. No.
What happened?
Well, as I said earlier, we were hoping to find nothing, but we found a lot.
A lot.
I did not say we, Nige. Nige is not my biggest fan at the moment.
I hate my life.
I'm at a loss of words, as you can tell.
Yeah, hey, as they say, it is what it is.
Part of the journey, you know, we've all been there. A lot of us that build bikes. It's not going to as planned, but luckily we have a big building of parts to get into it and find some stuff, and we'll get this done.
Yeah, that's it. These guys are going to utilize the whole warehouse to get this thing done for sure. So, yeah, luckily we had a good time, but that was a fun watch to see what happened there. And old Nige ripped in as well. So.
Yeah, he was moving and grooving. He's taking care of us. I know he'll get the job done.
Yeah.
But the game is now in jeopardy of us. Yeah. We're behind.
Hey, it happens, but hey, this is what we love to do, and this is why we're doing it. So we want to see your before and after pics. So at the start of the episode, like we said, we had a bit of a comp going, so we want to see your before and after pics of your builds. So this is where the hashtag #RecordsToCheckers comes into play. So we want to see you sharing on the stories, hashtag #RecordsToCheckers, follow along MXstore, and we got some cool products to give away. We got Muck Off on board, we got MotorX, we got Maxxis, we got a good bag of goodies at the end of the show.
A year's supply of product for a few of those brands.
That's it. So at the end of it, we're gonna pick our best ones, and we're gonna be supplying you guys a year's supply of Muck Off, a year's supply of MotorX, Maxxis tires, and all the goodies coming your way.
Get onto it, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of Records the Checkers Season 2. And like you said, use that hashtag Records the Checkers for your chance to win your supply of all the sponsors of Records the Checkers.
All right, Nige, we got the bike in my garage. What have we got to order to get it on its wheels?